Hiya folks, welcome to Wednesday. You are halfway through the week, congratulations to you. Let's get on with some hobby nightmares, shall we? Because it is a big day for some nightmares. We've got three rather large ones, well, two rather large question ones, and one very funny one that I've been told is hilarious. So I want to go and get on with that a little bit later on. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, and the real subscribe button, which is the bell notification icon, is right next to that too. If you don't hit that, you'll never know that I'm here, because YouTube will never tell you. Also, if you're getting any models this holiday season, make sure you do it at Composite Games. They do a lot to support the channel, and if you enter in the promo code Northern Exile down below at checkout, you will get an extra 5% off your basket as you go out for checkout, which will give you an extra, I think it's 25% all told. That's half the GW staff discount you can get using the promo code Northern Exile down below. Also, Patreon is down below, so if you want to see these videos a day early and have a little talk with me on the side, that is the place to go to. I look there first for new messages and new things. So go there, have a little word with me, and let's have some fun. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? So, hobby nightmare number 1 comes from JP, and he says, hello again, North. It's JP again, and I'm just wondering if I could have some advice or counsel, as I'm all of a sudden having some very conflicted feelings about my hobby. We've all been there, dude. All been there. So, to start from the beginning, 4 months ago, at the end of July, I was struck with the sudden inspiration and desire to make an Age of Sigmar army. Okay. Specifically, a Slaanesh army, if for no other reason than the Plastic Keeper of Secrets, which was awesome. Okay? I agree, it is pretty awesome. You can also use it in 40k, I think, but that doesn't matter. Use it in Age of Sigmar if you want. I racked my brain, came up with a paint scheme, and even an interesting and exotic-looking base involving fish gravel. Okay. Well, that sounds okay. I spent one night of like 9 hours all told, taking my keeper from sprue to finished, picture attached. It does look very nice, yes. After a lot more building and less painting than I'd hoped. And along with an 11 hour move and a new job, prone to 60-hour work weekends, standing outside in the cold, I'm finally going to get my chance to play on Saturday. But this is where my problems are starting. I'm feeling very ashamed and afraid to go. Yes, I'm ashamed. I've been super hesitant to tell people because nearly every time I mention it online, I get one of 3 responses. Either, oh, you want to play Sigmar? Go home G-dub shill. Okay. Or, lol, coom for the coom god nerd. Effing degenerate. Okay, fair enough, that's not very nice. Or, you have no clue what you're doing with the insert aspect, whether it is the hobby, skill things, or list building ideas, or collection choices. And quite a lot of my joy and excitement for the idea was just stolen away. What the hell do I do? Okay, so, first of all, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It's very easy for me to sit here and tell you that, dude, you shouldn't listen to what any other people say. It's your hobby, blah, 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 blah. It's very easy for me to just come out and verbosely say that to you, right? Doesn't always make sure that things are above board, though. It's not that easy. I've tried to do this as well. I'm not really in the public eye. I've got like 11k subscribers. It's not like I'm sitting here, you know, being like the head cheese or anything. But I am very exposed to my customer base, not in that way. Well, sometimes in that way, if you ask me nicely. But, like, I'm not very exposed to my customer base. No, to my fan base, to my people, right? To the guys who are here watching the videos. I'm so used to saying customer base with working with Games Workshop, it just does my head in. Anyway, when it comes to the hobby, anyway, I think about people as customers, and it's something that I'm trying to get out of my head. So, I'm very exposed to those people, so whenever they say something about the hobby that affects me, that they don't like, or they don't see as good, or they don't... It has a real effect on me, and I've had to learn, since the channel has started to pick up steam, that I can't take that to heart. I can't, like, just say, oh, well, if you don't like it, then I shouldn't like it either. As a writer, I do that as well. As a writer, if somebody says to me that they don't like an idea, or if somebody says to me that they like a certain idea or a certain setting idea, I will run with that and try and write it. And there is a certain contempt you have to have for other people and your audience, where you say, no, I know what's best for me, I know what's best, I know what's cool, and I know what's better for you than you do. As a writer, you need to have that gumption of, you need to be, how do I put it? You need to be humble enough to know that you make mistakes and you're not perfect, but you also need to be arrogant enough to say, I know better than you in doing this story and doing this setting and knowing what's cool. That's why I write and you don't. That, you know, you need to have the arrogance about you. And I think you need to work on that, to be honest with you, even though you're not a writer. Well, I don't think you're a writer anyway. Even though you're not a writer, you need to have the arrogance about you to say, look, this is the thing that I enjoy about the hobby. If you don't like that, that's fine. But I don't give a shit. I honestly couldn't care less of a shit about what you like and what you don't. Because this is what I like and this is what I'm going to do. Job done, right? Again, it's very easy for me to say that, but I'm telling you now as somebody who's had to do it, that it's doable. You can end up having a lot of fun time and tuning out the bad stuff, tuning out the stuff that you don't like. Now, am I saying that you need to essentially, you know, disregard everybody's opinions? No, of course not. If you value somebody's opinion or somebody gives you one that's constructive and nice and upfront and you think it could help you, then take it, right? But that doesn't mean that if somebody says that they don't like Age of Sigmar, that you need to not play Age of Sigmar. That's stupid. That's stupid on your part. Right? Other people can say what they want. It's not their responsibility. Your feelings are not their responsibility. They can tell you whatever they want about the game that you like. It's up to you, being a big boy, whether you want to decide whether this dickhead number A, that you're never going to speak to ever again, is going to have any impact on your life moving forwards. And I don't think he should. Moving on. Chocobo Knight says, Dear Sir Exile of the North. Oh, I'm a sir now. Very nice. It's got a nice ring to it. Today's question is about a friend of mine I'm worried about. I have changed the names and softened some details so we won't know who it is, but the core of it remains. Okay. I have a friend named anything but Dave. Steve, why not? His name's Steve. I've been inviting him home for the game from the game store more and more, and he is seeing me and my fiancée and how successful our relationship is. Okay. I've told him about my proposal and my wedding plans. He is taking this encouragement in his own life and has told me he has plans to ask his girlfriend of 10 years to be his wife. Excellent, okay. I have met his girlfriend and I think she is a sweet and wonderful person. The trouble is, for me, what arises in I can see what's coming to some degree. Okay. Steve is a hard-working guy, but his girlfriend is not. She shares many of his interests, so they go great together, but not his life experience or work ethic. To my knowledge, she has never had a job, not even a part-time one. She also has more pets than she knows what to do with, and lives with her parents. Okay. I'm afraid in marriage he will be taking care of her of an overgrown child, whilst he works himself to the bone. I've tried bringing it up casually, so he can figure it out on his own. I know it's not my place to tell him how to live his life, but I had a first marriage that ended for many of these specific reasons. I feel like all I can do is sit back and watch the train wreck from start to finish. I wish I could grab this young lady by the shoulders and tell her, snap out of your arrested development, get a job and shape up. The world's expensive and keeps getting more so. I don't care if you're a productive member of society, but don't drag Steve down with you. If you were in my position, a position where things aren't horrible enough to step in, example, someone is cheating or something really bad like that, but bad enough where you can see it starting to snowball, what would you do? Okay, this is my last question for the day. The other one's going to be a full-on hobby nightmare. Okay, so dude, you can't... How do I put this? You've answered your own question. You've gone through that in life, and now you're in a better place, right? That is a thing. Every man needs to go through this. Every man needs to go through a relationship that blows up in his face and scars him a little bit. You need that. You need the pain. You need the if you're a blade, you need to be in the fire and hammered out on the anvil, right? So we can see what kind of a metal you're made from, whether you're made of good stuff. And sometimes things like this, you never know. Like this could be the perfect match for him. He might not want a woman who goes out and works. You ever thought of that? Maybe your friend doesn't want a woman who goes out and works. Maybe he wants a woman who's going to make him some dinner. He comes home, and she's wearing his tie, and not wearing anything else. Maybe that's what he wants. Do you know what I mean? You're making a lot of assumptions about things that have happened in your life that are automatically going to happen in this guy's life. I know it's coming from a good place, but dude, the world is stressful enough. You've made your observations known to him. That's enough. You don't need to do anything else from here on in. Don't do anything else. Just to support him wherever you can. And if he asks you for advice, give him your honest answer. That's it. That's all you can do. That is all you can do. If it's bothering him, he will come to you and you'll be able to see it. If it's not, and he quite likes having this woman in his house doing the housework, maybe that's what she does. Maybe she will just do the housework and keep the house clean for him. So when he comes home, she rubs his shoulders, among other things, and helps him out that way. You don't know. Their relationship is not yours. So it's very, very easy for people to step in and say, I know what's best for you, but you don't. You don't know what's best for him. He knows what's best for him, at least right now, right? Let him make his own mistakes, and if he makes his own mistakes and learns from them, great. If he doesn't, then step in and say, listen, dude, you did this last time, blah, 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 blah. There's no problem being concerned for a friend. You've already let your concerns be known, subtly. There's nothing else you can do right now. So take a load off your mind, chill out, and let the chips fall where they may. If he needs help, give him help. But if things aren't horrible enough to step in, don't step in. Let them get on with it, right? And if you see that it's really affecting him mentally, then step in. That's what I'm telling you to do, right? But for now, leave him alone. Let him get on with it. Maybe he likes a little housewife and a pinny. You don't know, right? Anyway, moving on. Salted Nork says... Salted Nork. Sorry. Just tickled me. Salted Nork. He says, Hey North, I've got a hobby nightmare for you that is more of a calamity than anything. I live in the US, and I moved here with my parents when I was a kid from the UK. So I have this weird half and half accent. And you are totally correct in that it's like kryptonite for the women over here. Okay. I'm an average looking dude, and when I go back to the UK, I am reminded just how average I am when women do not look at me twice. Over here in the US though, every woman seems to give you at least a look, and when I start talking, interest does sometimes come my way. Very nice, good. Yeah, I've said this before, like if you're a Brit and you're struggling to like get laid or you're struggling to find somebody, don't go to, well, either go to East Asia and when I'm saying this, I mean, you know, don't get your wallet stolen or bring home a wife or anything like that, but go to East Asia, get a nice bit of attention, you know. I've not done it before, but I know other people who've done it. Or, if you're not wanting something that crass, go to the US. Go to the US, especially West Coast or, like, Midwest. East Coast is pretty much, it's like the UK. Like the women there are kind of like the UK. But, like, Midwest or West Coast, you've got a British accent and you're not terrible to look at, as in you're an average-looking dude, you're going to be quids in, mate. You're going to find a woman because, you know, you're British and you're exotic and you're nice and, you know, they think you're Hugh Grant, which you're genuinely not, but, like, they don't know that. So, yeah, I do advise you to do that if you can. If you're struggling or you're lonely or you're wanting to get an ego boost and say, look, I'm not that bad of a guy. Yeah, go to the US. Go to the West Coast or Midwest, and you'll be completely fine. Especially suburbs. Suburbs are great. Suburbs are just great because they're not exposed to people who are outside of America very often. So you go there, British accent, and all of a sudden you're like the belle of the ball. Like even the dudes are wanting to talk to you and talk about the UK and history and stuff and things like that. It's great, lovely stuff. Anyway, Nork says, when I have friends from the UK come over, they just clean up with the women. It's ridiculous. And these are your typical Warhammer nerds, by the way. This may seem off topic, but it fits into my story. Okay, cool. A friend of mine, David, headed over to the US to visit me here in LA for a few weeks. We had a fantastic time drinking and generally lollygagging around the city as I'd booked a few weeks off from work. He even got a tattoo of the Imperial Aquila on his shoulder. Tramp stamp for men, I guess. He was a huge fan of Warhammer, you see, and was really into his Black Templars. He brought his army over from the UK, and we booked a table at my local game store to throw some dice. I'd been there before, and, as a plasterer, I'd actually worked there for a week or so beforehand, and had booked our game whilst doing my job. The manager, Jason, was a decent guy, all things considered, but there was always something else behind his smile, if you know what I mean. Like, he would always smile and nod, but it would never reach his eyes. His comments to folks sometimes were a little off. Kind of like a computer was trying to figure out how to act like a normal human. I was working upstairs, and he never came up or really spoke to me. His staff went out of their way to get me a coffee once in a while, but he would simply ask when the work would be completed, and then basically refuse to speak to me. Okay. At the end of the job, I asked him not to tread on the panels I'd installed between the roof slots for a few weeks to let it all settle in. We had built an extension room to the attic and piled it out. As an office area, it was going to look super nice, but I wanted to leave it for a week or two to let things dry, let the wood settle, and then come back to finish the place off. He was alright with this, and I clearly marked where not to step, and he saw me on my way. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's going to come up later on in the story, but let's see. Sorry, having a drink of tea. When David is visiting, we head to the store to check it out a few days before our game, so I can pick a few things up. As I am browsing the place, David strikes up a conversation with Jen, one of the staffers there. Jen is a pretty little thing of about 22 years old. Dyed red hair, kind of looks like Hayley Williams from Paramore. Ooh, nice. Okay. I can tell from body language she is rather into David, and I stay clear to give him space to work the British magic, which is going down a treat. Before long, Jason comes over, the store manager, and interrupts them, loudly telling Jen that she has boxes to put away upstairs, and that if David needs anything, he needs to ask him or one of the other staff members, rather than distracting the staff. Wow. Wow, there's cock blocking and there's obvious cock blocking. What is this all about? I am a little gobsmacked, as is David. To be fair, he holds his composure and says he apologises, but not to Jason, to Jen, for wasting her time. The sly devil gives her a bloody wink as he says it too, and she skips off giddily and such. Yeah, ridiculous charmer. Yeah, no wonder, man. Like, another good thing to do, like with a girl that you think is, it just always works. I don't know why, especially with nerds. Like, if they're doing something really cool, like they're painting something, ask them about it, ask them to explain it, or if they've made, like, a few weeks ago, I was at my local game store, and there was a woman there who was absolutely gorgeous, who works there, and they also do food, and she made me this chicken burger, right? And my friend Matt will know exactly what I'm talking about, because, like, he was there at the time. So, like, she comes over and she gives us these burgers, and I'm eating it, and I'm going, oh, who made this? It's fantastic. And she said, oh, I did. And I looked her up and down, winked at her and said, good girl, and carried on eating. She literally went red in the face and just, like, went, oh, thanks. I mean, like, you know, and, like, fixed her hair and then moved away. And I was like, it works every time, man. Every time with a shy girl, just say, good girl. Whenever she does something nice or good for you, look her up and down. Not in a lecherous way, just look her up and down like you're impressed and go, good girl, and just nod your head and go back to what you're doing. Right? It shows your interest, but it could be platonic interest. She doesn't know, right? Always keep them guessing, but it works every time. Try it. It just works. And that's exactly what this guy's doing here. He gives her a little wink and sends her on her way, you know? Just like a little charmer. Love it, man. Brilliant. He waits outside with me, and when Jen comes down from her tasks, he asks me if I can head in and ask her to pop outside when she's on her break. She told him it would be in about 30 minutes whilst they were talking, okay? She heads out for a smoke, and the two swap numbers and agree to head for a coffee, which they duly do the next day. David told me he got a kiss when he walked her home, but left her standing on her doorstep. Oh, this guy's a pro. This guy's a pro. This guy's a fucking Chad. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. David told me he got a kiss when he walked her home, but he left her standing on her doorstep to catch his cab without looking back. Yeah, man, this guy's a pro. He didn't want to look like he was there for some vacation layover, if you get what I mean. Yeah, this guy's an absolute... Yeah, animal. This guy's an animal. Yeah, there's nothing better than that. No is the sexiest word in Hollywood. It really is. Like, no, I'm good, thanks. I just wanted to take you out for a meal and then, you know, find out what kind of a person you were. You know? And now I know, and I want to see you again. And then give her a kiss, and then we move away. Just walk away. Walk away. She will not stop thinking about you until the next time you see her. Honestly, she will not stop thinking about you. Because you've expressed that deepness of your character without actually having to tell her. You've shown her the deepness of your character. You haven't told her the deepness of your character, right? Anyway. Needless to say, the texts from Jen at this point were pretty much non-stop. Told you. But David was brilliant about keeping her at arm's length and telling her he was spending time with me as he had come to visit me and he wasn't going to abandon his bro. What a dude. This guy is dangerous. I'm telling you now, like, you can recognise another predator in the room, not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, but you can recognise one in the room. It's like, yeah, this guy, he knows his shit. A few days later, he went out with her again for the evening, and this time he stayed over at her place, whilst me and my partner chuckled at his antics whilst watching Die Hard. Good times. Die Hard's a really underrated movie, by the way. The day of the game comes around, and we head to the store. Jen is there and making a fuss of David, but she leaves him alone to play his game and do her job. And I liked that. She was not overt about it. I did psychology at college, so I was able to pick up on body language and things like that. I'm training to be a therapist, and plastering is something I do for pocket money, and it makes use of my painting skills, kind of. People often underestimate me that way, seeing a simple tradesman. Not that there is anything wrong with that, it's just a stereotype I don't particularly care for. Some of the smartest dudes I know are bricklayers and architects. Yeah, that's true. I come from a family of tradesmen, and a lot of the guys I know are very, very, very smart. Again, we do have some dunces in the family, don't get me wrong. Some crayon eaters. But, you know, a lot of the other ones are very, very smart dudes, but they're smart because of life. Because they've had to deal with tons of clients who've been quite toxic with them and things like that. Anyway, moving on. We are playing our game anyway, and Jason is looking over with a face like thunder whenever Jen heads over to say a few words to us. In the end, after about 90 minutes of the game, he heads over to loudly proclaim that he is going to need the table at the 2-hour mark sharp, so we need to pack up in about 20 minutes. Now, we booked a table for 2 hours, and normally at a game store, that means 2 hours of game time. So long as you don't take the piss getting set up or packing away, which we didn't. Yeah, I did that as well. When I was forced to do game time at Games Workshop, it was 2 hours of game time. So if you came up and took 20 minutes to set up, no problem. And if you took 20 minutes to pack away, no problem. You know, it's 2 hours of game time. This guy obviously is got his knickers in a twist about your friend there. This is what betas do, I'm afraid. This is what they do. They see somebody coming in who's good with women, who is quite confident, who has a quiet strength to him, and they want to see that person fail and be brought down a peg or two. That's what they want. This is what they do. They're very passive-aggressive, and they will do it in the most... In any power that they've got to exert over you, they will do it. And this is exactly what's happening here. I thought this was really rude and ruining the vibe, but David shrugged and took it in his stride. Jason walked away and started talking to other customers about Black Templars, loudly talking about how that army was known to attract the wrong kind of far-right people into the hobby, and as such, he didn't like it much. As a reminder, David is standing there playing Black Templars, and I can see this is getting to him. Right, so, number one, this is a bullshit argument and is untrue. Just plain and simple, number one. Number two, this guy's trying different tactics to try and get at him. He's just trying different things, trying to try and ruin his day. Because that's the only power this sad little piece of shit has in his life. There's the only power he has, and he's exercising it, or he's trying to anyway. This is what small dick energy looks like, by the way. Whenever I describe it, this is what it looks like. This is how much of a hobby bro David actually is, though. He can sidestep you trying to cockblock him. He can shrug at your rudeness to him. Say anything about his Templars, however, and he is outraged. Not in a my army is best kind of way. More in the stop making remarks that my army is bad for people in real life kind of way. Yeah, that's true. That's true, yeah. I'd be upset as well. After a while, I say to David, listen, shall we just pack up, dude? You're so far ahead on points anyway, and we're on turn 4. To which David nods, and we pack up our armies away, and head to stand by the cash register. David is now obviously thinking, fuck this manager's feelings then, and openly has his arm around Jen as they talk, to which she reciprocates. Jason is already upstairs sorting something out, obviously happy with his petty victory. Jesus. Then we hear a very loud creak from above. A foot, Jason's, slams through the ceiling above us, where he has stood on the weak floor panelling that I asked him not to. At this point, I am sighing to myself, as he seems like the kind of client who will want me to repair for the damage he caused, free of charge. Then we hear swearing, another loud crack, and then a slam. The entire thing gives way, and Jason falls back first through the ceiling and into the table we were just playing on, covered in wood and plaster, narrowly missing the sharp points of the Sector Imperialis city on the table. I rush over there with a few others to find him struggling and swearing. He gets up and berates my shoddy work. Oh, fuck this dude, man. Fuck this dude. What the hell? Like, He gets up and berates my shoddy work, obviously covering his embarrassment by passing the blame to me, despite me asking him not to step in that area. There was more than enough room to walk around it, and it was clearly marked and sectioned off. I have no idea how he managed to even walk on it. I told him where to go after stammering through an explanation of why he was a douche for saying that, and left, Army and David in tow behind me. This guy, man. Fuck's sake. That is kind of funny, though, that he falls through the sea. But you're just turning around and seeing this guy's body just flop down. You know, like a dead body being thrown out of a moving vehicle, just falls down. Slams into the hobby place. Anyway, on their next date, Jen asked David to speak to me on the manager's behalf to get me to fix the hole. I said I'd give an estimate on how much it would cost the guy. Originally, I charged him double my Originally, I charged him nearly double for the trouble he had caused me, but in the end, I only charged him about $100 on my estimate, above what I'd normally go for as a going rate for the work. Don't twist the knife too far and all that. Remarkably, he was fine after this, and generally left me to it. I did the work whilst the store was closed for a few days, and this time put a plasterboard over the drying hole, just in case. Eventually, we finished the hobby space and storage area up top, and it looked amazing. Jason was really happy. Okay, well, I'm happy he got a happy ending, but I hope he learns to treat people with like, you know, a bit more respect, and stop being such a beta male, such a douchebag. David and Jen ended up dating and going back and forth from the UK and the US for a few years, before things naturally ended last year. David now lives in San Diego with his new girlfriend, and we have hobby get-togethers either there or here. Now we are both employed full-time though, we have our hobby spaces at home to avoid the phenomenon of flying managers landing on our game spaces, or trying to ruin our chances with the ladies. Cheers, North, salted. Cheers, man, that was awesome. That was hilarious. I'll be honest with you, I did not see that coming. Like, I sort of did when you said about the where you told him not to step. I sort of thought, like, oh, his foot's going to come through, or, like, something's going to fall through it, or whatever. I didn't expect him to come flying through it. That's hilarious. Anyway, that is all for today, folks. I'll be back tomorrow with another lore video. I love you long time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And, you know, please make sure that, you know, you take care of yourself, that you're stressing out too hard. I've got a video about stress coming this weekend, which I'm sure will help a lot of people. I'm hoping it will anyway. Love you long time. Speak to you later. Have a really, really good rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Bye.